Some people are proud to say that they're always very busy. They see this as a sign that they're hard workers and productive. But being a hard worker and productive, not usually the same thing. Hi, I'm Dave Edwards. We've all known people like that. I've worked with people like that. I'm convinced I know someone who just kept like this really messy desk. So whenever you would walk by, you would think like they were like super busy and kind of sent off a signal like, don't bother me. I got way too much work to do. Don't give me any more. Or I'm too busy for lunch. I'm just overworked. Busyness, being occupied with a lot of stuff, is different than being productive. Being productive is being more purposeful, allocating the right amount of time, and most importantly, focusing on what is important. The difference is like managing your life and achieving your goals. Some people think that others who don't seem as stressed are lazy. That's not true. The way I look at it is busy people get drowned in details, whereas productive people keep their eyes on what's really important and really, at the end of the day, have the most impact. Busy people let others set their direction, whereas productive people set their own direction and evaluate their own progress against this direction or goal, if you will. Busy people tend to say yes to everything, whereas productive people say yes and no carefully and strategically. Oh, and as I said earlier, sometimes busy people just like to say they're busy so they don't get assigned more work. So if you want to make sure you're productive and not just busy, first of all, focus on getting your important tasks done as quickly as you can. Ask yourself, what should you do? Take a good look at your to-do list and figure out what's the most important thing. That means you also want to put your tasks in one place. If you don't have one task list, well, you'll always be thinking of something that you should do, and that will get you off course. And then identify what is important and necessary to do. If that's a bit of a problem for you, if that's new for you, I suggest you look up the Eisenhower matrix. That might help. Also, say no to tasks when you need to. And if that task is coming from your boss, well, do a little negotiation. One of the things that I always recommend to my clients and friends is that if your boss keeps assigning you tasks, it might be that he or she sees you as so very productive and so reliable that they can count on you to do more. But if you really truly feel like you are overworked, then what you need to say to your boss is, okay, look, I've got project A, B, and C. You want me to add D to my plate. Is there anything we can take off of that list? Because I want to give you my best possible effort. When you do that, more often than not, your boss will understand what you're saying and will be willing to negotiate some things off your plate. Also, don't sweat the small stuff. Again, we can get bogged down in little minutia. Focus on the goal. Minimize distractions. If you work in an environment where you're continually being interrupted, well, you got to figure out a way of dealing with that because that's not going to allow you to be more productive. Say yes strategically. I mean, if you're being asked to help out on a project, or maybe you have some specific knowledge that someone is asking you to help them out with, I mean, you have to consider those as opportunities to help other people. And sometimes you do need to say yes, particularly when saying yes doesn't involve like a major project, but it could just be something you could help somebody with in 10 or 15 minutes. I also advise you to avoid trends with like, what's the cool new software, the task list software, project management tools, things like that. If you've got a system that works, stick with it. Now, why should this even matter? Well, if you really know how to prioritize your work and be productive, you're going to have less stress and you will have spare time where you can do the things you want and be good to yourself. How do you make sure you're productive and not just busy? I'd love to hear your stories. What works for you? Post a comment below.